Welcome everyone to this week's Wednesday webinar. Today we are going to be talking about creating views within the CRM. And we're just going to talk a little bit about views and then we're going to get into the demo. So a view within CRM is just a set of records based on parameters that you set forth. The system comes with a lot of out-of-box system views already created. But a lot of times I find that companies have other sets of records that they want to review frequently. And that answers a question on when you should create a view. When does a new view need to be created? If there's ever a set of records that you know you're going to want to access frequently, you want to create a view. For example, if you want to look at all opportunities closing in the next month, or you want to see all accounts that haven't been contacted in the last 3 months, or all leads that are high priority. Any type of list that you're going to want to work with frequently, you should have a view for. It just makes it easier so you don't have to filter and search for these records and gives you a quicker way to get to what you're looking for. With views, there's both system and personal views. System views are set forth, there's the out-of-the-box ones, and then any ones that you have your system administrator or system customizer create. System views are available to everyone in the organization. Personal views, you can create yourself. Your manager could create views for you that would be more of a personal view that they share with you or assign to you. There are a few different ways to create views. And we're going to look at the different ways here. You can filter a current view and save it as a new view. You can just start from scratch, create a personal view, which also is done within the advanced find window. And then the system customization. So this is where you're required to have that system customizer or system administrator access to be able to create new system views that can be seen across the organization. You also can manage your views. You can share or assign, and we'll talk about the difference between those two here when we look at that. You can edit, deactivate, and delete views, or you can set a view to be a default for your CRM. So let's go ahead, get right into the demo, and create a few different views. So here I have our demo CRM. And we're going to be looking at creating views within the opportunities. So under sales, I'm going to go ahead and go into opportunities. And you can see the default view here doesn't have anything on it. It's my open project service opportunities. All views that are available can be accessed through this drop-down arrow next to the view name. And you can see there are a lot of out-of-the-box opportunity views. These aren't any new ones that we've created. And when we look at managing views, we'll see how you could clean this list up a bit because a lot of people don't like to scroll through a bunch of different views. So let's go ahead. We're just going to go ahead and look at open opportunities. So here we see our open opportunities, and the first way we're going to look at creating a personal view is through using filters. So when you're looking at a view here, the funnel here to the right-hand side is your filter option, and when it is toggled on, you can see that there are drop-down arrows next to each of the columns within your view. So let's say we wanted to cut this list down based on when the opportunity is going to close. So I'm going to hit the drop-down arrow next to estimated close date. When you have a date column, there are some predefined filters that you could choose from. There's, by day, if you wanted to look at yesterday, today, tomorrow, filtering by week, it's last week, this week, next week, and the same thing with month, last, this, next, and year. So there are some predefined relative date filters that you can use, or you can provide a custom filter. So let's go ahead and we're gonna look at what the custom filter does. We're going to select the operator, and with date ones, you have on and afters, on and befores, that same yesterday, tomorrow, and you can look at the next 7 days and those same ones we saw in the relative weeks, months, years, but you also can provide a specific number of days, weeks, or months that you may want to look at. So you can see the last X days, the next X days. So this could be 30 days for you instead of monthly. Maybe you just want to look at a rolling 30 days. The other things, you can have older than a set number of days, weeks, months, years, and you can look at fiscal years as well in fiscal periods. A very broad filter that's available on anything is contains data or does not contain data. So if you're looking for something that maybe isn't being filled in, you could always choose, show me the ones that do not contain data, and it would filter something so you could take action on those records. For the sake of what we want to see, we're going to go ahead and say we want to see all opportunities that are closing within the next 6 weeks because we feel those are the opportunities we need to be really working on. So I'm going to say the next X weeks. I'm going to put 6 in there. And you can have an and or when you do a custom filter. So we could do the next 6 weeks or anything that, if we wanted to do, or anything older than 1 day. We're not going to select an and or, we're just going to do the next 6 weeks. We're going to go ahead and click OK. So you can see we're down to 16 records that have an estimated close date within the next 6 weeks. And for some other columns that we look at, just to show you the difference between some of the filters, looking at this rating column, if I click the down arrow here, because this is just a 3-option column, for the filters, it would allow you to just check mark next to them instead of having to put, equals, hot, or type it in. When they are just drop down lists like this, it will appear this way if you want to filter it out. We're going to leave all of them in there. So once you have all your filters set and you're like, yep, this is the set of records I'm going to want to see, I'm going to want to refer to this frequently. To create the new view, we're going to select the drop down arrow here and we're going to scroll to the bottom. And you can see where it says Save Filters as New View. I'm going to click Save Filters New View and we're going to say Opportunities. Opportunities closing in the next 6 weeks. If we wanted to provide a description more about the filters or things like that, if we had done multiple filters, that's where I would enter a description. Other times I just leave it blank. The title tells us exactly what we need to know. So we're going to save that view. And you can see here the name of the view has now changed as we titled it, Opportunities Closing in the Next 6 Weeks. And if we take a look at the drop-down list, on the bottom, underneath all the system views, it has My Views, and we can see that Opportunities Closing in Next 6 Weeks now appears. So we could refer to that view anytime we needed it. So another thing that we can do for creating a new view, you can see at the top here it has Create Personal View and those options, Save Filters as New View. Now that we have a personal view, we also see Save Filters to Current View. So when you are in one of your personal views, let's say now we're like, wait a minute, we forgot, we wanted to include only warm and hot opportunities. We can apply that filter. And we're going to go to Save Filters to Current View. We don't want to create another new view. We just want to make this adjustment, do a little edit to the view we created. If we click that, it saved that. So now that filter of only warm and hot opportunities is what's going to show for this opportunities closing in the next 6 weeks. Let's say we wanted to filter by something that isn't one of these columns that we're seeing here, or we wanted to see different columns. We want to create a whole new view from scratch. We don't want to filter a current view. What we're going to do here is we're going to go Create Personal View. And this is going to launch a window that looks very similar to the Advanced Find window if you've ever used that. And if not, we'll look at that in a moment. It even says Advanced Find on it. So it's going to look exactly the same. So with this, the first thing we want to select, you can see it's defaulted to opportunities. If we wanted to do something with a different entity, this is where we could change it to a different record type, but we're going to stick with opportunities. You can start from a saved view. I find this to be helpful if you don't want to create everything from scratch, if you already have a few parameters that have been entered, you know you want to look at only open opportunities, but you want to make some adjustments, you can choose to start from a current system or personal view. As you see, our personal view is there as well. But we're going to go with open opportunities. And what we can see is the first parameter has been filled in for us. And this is the only parameter on that open opportunities view, is the status needs to be open. And then in these lines, these are where you can add different parameters that you want to your view. So let's say we wanted to look at the rating. And it's equals, or it can be does not equal, contains if you want just a specific phrase that could be expanded upon or not, and the same with contains data and does not contain data. But for this, we're going to say equals, and when we hit the little ellipsis here, it pulls the values that are available for that column. If it was a typable text column, you would just enter in that little cell, but it has that ellipsis because this is particular values for this cell. So we're going to say we want to see hot and we want to see warm opportunities. Another cool thing that you can do with your parameters is not just any field that is available to the certain record type you're working with, but you can expand your parameters into related records. So let's say, and I always pick on California just because I know there's different regulations and restrictions out there than a lot of places. So I just always pick on that. We're going to say that we want to see hot and warm opportunities, but only if the account is located in California. So when we look here, we see all these different fields, and these are all the fields that are located within that opportunity. If we keep scrolling down, you can see here it says related. And these are the different records that are related to an opportunity. And we want to look to the account. So I'm going to select account. And then it's going to give me now what fields do I want to look at under the account. So here we can see the account contains data, so we know it's related to an account. And now these fields are account fields that we can look at. So I'm going to say for the first address, address 1, because that's the main one we enter, I want to look at the state. And I want to say the state equals CA because we use the abbreviations, we don't spell it out. So now this will pull all open opportunities where the rating is warm or hot, and the account related to the opportunity is located in California. Another reason that you would use this advanced find window is to create different views with different columns. So you saw the set of columns that we already had within a view, but maybe that's not what we want to see. So up here, we're going to go to Edit Columns, and it's going to launch a little window here for us. And these are the columns that are going to appear in your view, and you can change them. So we can see the topic, the potential customer, estimated close date, estimated revenue. And let's say we just don't need to see the account twice. The potential customer is another way that the account is titled. So we're going to, so we have this highlighted, and we're going to hit remove. We're going to remove that column. We want to see the rating. Let's go ahead and take out the email here. And let's say there's a couple more columns that we want to see. So we're going to go ahead and click Add Columns. And here we can see the record type is opportunity, and these are all the different fields that are available under an opportunity. But because we went back to the related record, we want to see something from the account. So on this dropdown, I'm looking for account, which it's account, and then it's what field is that related to. So the name of the field within the opportunity is account, and it refers back to an account. We also can see where we had talked about potential customer being another name for account. We can see the potential customer field, and that goes back to an account as well. So either one of those would work because both of them are filled in with our opportunities, but we're going to go ahead and say we want to look at the potential customer account, and we want to see that address 1. So I'm going to select address 1 and hit OK. So now you can see address 1 is appearing here at the end. Another thing you can do within these views, you can see how it's slightly cut off here, is you can also change the size of these columns. So when the column is highlighted, if I go to change properties, I can expand that column out. So let's go ahead and click OK. And now we're going to say we want to see the results. So we're going to click on results. And here's our list of records that are from California that are warm or hot opportunities. Now we want to make sure that we can refer to this multiple times. This is something we want to refer to, so we need to save this as a view. We're going to go ahead and go back to the Advanced Find tab, and we're going to go to Save As. And we're going to say this is, let's title it California Priority Opportunities. We're going to save that. And you can save multiple new personal views. This is still creating a personal view. I'm going to save this twice so I can show you how we can manage these opportunities. So I'm just going to add a 2 to the end of this one. And I always like to show this because I have done it where I have changed views and then I accidentally save them too many times instead of just updating a view. It happens to everyone when you first start creating views, and then you wonder how the heck can I get rid of all these views that I have there. So we made 2 so we can take a look at that in a moment. So now we created that new view, and if we select the drop-down arrow, no, it has not updated yet, and I saved it twice. Let me refresh my page here. There we go. Now we can see under My Views, we have that California Priority Opportunities and the second one that we created. So you can see we can refer to those California opportunities. So managing your personal views is done through that same Advanced Find window that we were just on. You can either go to create a personal view, or from any window that you're in, the filter or the funnel icon here in the black toolbar, if you select that, that will also launch the Advanced Find window. And you can see because we were within this California Priority Opportunities, the window did default to showing you the parameters for that. But we're interested more in looking at our saved views and managing them. So up here in the toolbar, we're going to click on Saved Views. And here are all our personal saved views for opportunities. You can see the 2 California ones and the opportunities closing in the next 6 weeks. So there's a few things you can do with an opportunity. And if we place the check mark next to a single opportunity, you can see some of the buttons that have become available. Share and Assign are the ones we're going to talk about now. When you're sharing a view, that means you're going to give someone else, either a user or team, access to see the view you've created. So if I click on Share and I go to Add a User or Team, and let's say I want to take Deb here and I want to add her. So I put the check mark next to her name, I hit Select. Once she appears in the box here, I click Add. It's a very important step. Sometimes people click Add before the person is in that little box, so just make sure you are seeing them in that box. And then here you can select what type of access you want that person to have. Do you want them to just be able to read the view, or do you want them to be able to change it, delete it, assign it, or share it to others, or share it with others? You get to decide how much access you want to give to someone who you're sharing with. If you decide at a later time, wait, I don't want to share, this person doesn't need it anymore, they're not on that team, or they just don't need to see that, if you check mark to select a person and remove selected items, it will erase that shared access. We're going to go ahead and cancel this. Assigning a saved view. So assigning a view gives the authority to make changes and the ability to see the view to whoever you assign it to. This is helpful for a manager that may want to make a view for their team members and then assign it to that user or team, but they don't need to see it in their personal views. If you're someone that is creating a lot of views for other people, you may not want to see all those. So assigning it may be a better option than sharing it. Sharing does take more resources within your system, so that is something to keep in mind if you start sharing a lot of views. So to assign a view, if you click on Assign Save Views, it will always default to me, and if you select that, it changes to user or team, and then you can search for a particular user. So you see I could assign it to Deb, and then Deb would see this under her personal views, and I would no longer see it under mine. So if you've done something like we did here where we created 2 views, we have way too many personal views, we didn't mean to, we can also delete personal views. So we're going to say we want to get rid of this second California opportunities, and we're going to place the check mark here and delete saved view. There also are options to deactivate. I recommend when it's a mistake you've made, you accidentally created too many, you're never going to need it again, go ahead and delete it. Deactivate only if you don't want to use it now because you've changed how you want to look at records, but you may want to refer to past views you had. But for this, it was a mistake. We saved it twice. We're going to go ahead and just delete it out. And you can see it is off our list here now. And if we go back here, let's see, we're going to have to refresh the page. CRM is usually pretty good at keeping up with you, but sometimes you do have to refresh to see the changes you've made. Now you can see we have just one California opportunities view. So let's take a look at some other options for creating views. Within the white toolbar here, if we click on the ellipsis, you can see there's an option for a new system view, customize the entity, which is not related to views, that's overall entity changes, and system views. To be able to access these, you do need to have that system customizer or system administrator security access, so you may not see these if you don't have that, or you may get an error if you try and get to them. If we wanted to create a new system view, we select New System View, and this opens what's called the View Editor. And this is where you can start by creating a name for your view, and then we'll go into the parameters. It looks a little different than the Advanced Find window. So let's go ahead and create a new system view. And within this, we're going to go ahead and title this one Immediate Purchase Opportunities. Select OK. You can see just the topic is the only column here. And these look a little bit different than the one we looked at where we just added columns. The first thing we are going to go ahead and do is we are going to edit the filter criteria and enter our parameters. This box is going to feel similar to where you entered the parameters in the Advanced Find window. And in this one, we just want to look at the purchase option, purchase time frame here. And we want to say if the purchase time frame within the opportunity equals immediate, we want to see those opportunities. And again, within this filter criteria that we have, you could do related records. It would work exactly the same way, but we're going to keep this one simple, and we just want to see those immediate purchase time frame opportunities. And then we're going to add some columns in here. So let's say we want to see the account. We're going to put in the estimated close date, the estimated revenue, And we're going to go ahead and click OK. And similar to what we looked at before, we're going to just make some changes to the properties for these columns so that they fit a little better width-wise. So we're going to start with topic. We're going to change properties. We're going to expand that out to the 300. We're going to highlight the account. We're going to change that to 200. And we're going to keep these last two the same. They're pretty small data sets as far as size-wise, so that should look pretty good. If we had to remove columns, it's the same as before. If you highlight it, you can remove it here. Another thing that you can do is you can configure the sorting. So you see that the arrow here is next to topic, meaning that it's going to default to sort by topic. So if we select configure sorting, we can change what we want it to sort by. So let's say we want it to sort by the estimated close date and go in ascending order. So we'll see those that have the oldest estimated close date first. And you can have a then by as well, but we're going to stick with just one for our view. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and save and close this. That's an easy way to make a new system view right here from the record or entity type. You can also launch the customizer box here. We're going to do system views, and it's going to launch this whole customization box for views. Just a moment here. And this is, you can also get to this through customizations, which I will show you here at the end of our time. But you can see we're already within the opportunity entity and we're looking at the views tab. And these are all those system views that we saw initially. We don't see any of the personal views on. This is just those system views. And the view we just made here is this immediate purchase opportunities. Some of the cool things that you can do within here, and I'm going to go ahead and check mark next to this immediate purchase opportunities. Under more actions, you can edit the view. So maybe you forgot a filter you wanted to put in it. You want to change the columns that are going to appear or the order they appear in. And let's go ahead and do that. We're going to go ahead and select edit, and it'll bring that box up. And if you want to change the order, so say we want the account first, we're going to highlight the account and we're going to click this little left arrow, and it moves the account one to the left. We're going to go ahead and just save and close that. We're going to say that was the only change we wanted to make. When you have views, some of the other actions, you can activate, deactivate views. And with system views, if there's a bunch that you do not use, I recommend deactivating them versus trying to delete them. Some won't delete, and you never know if you might need them in the future. Only delete a system view if it was a pure mistake that you made it and you know that you're never going to need it again. So if we wanted to get rid of these, say we didn't want to see, maybe we don't use project service, we can go ahead and just deactivate those views. And you do have to do them one at a time, but you could deactivate those views to help clean up that list. You also, from this system view page, if you were to select new, this would pull up that same box to create a brand new system view. Once you have the views created or the editing done that you've wanted to do, you do need to publish all customizations. And this will publish everything. So if you have other things that you have customized, fields, anything that you've changed within an entity, publish all customizations would publish everything that you have done. But we know the only thing we did was create that system view. So we're going to go ahead and publish our customizations. And usually this only takes a couple minutes here. But of course, when doing a demo, things will always take a lot longer. And then once this is done, that new immediate purchase opportunities view will be available in the system views list versus the personal views list. It looks like it might be hanging up here a little bit for me. I know I didn't wait long enough. I gave it a hard time by clicking. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this box. And I'm going to refresh my page here. And let's make sure we now have that immediate purchase opportunities available here. The other place, I know we talked about customizations, how you can get to that from your black toolbar. If you go to Sales, Settings, Customizations, and we go to Customize the System, that's going to launch this same customization box, and you could scroll down to the particular entity that you want. You expand it, you look for the particular entity. For this case, we were working with opportunities. And we click on views, and we can get to that same list. There's many ways to get to the same data. It's really what works best for you. The last thing that I'm going to show you here is that you can set a default view. So you can see here, my open opportunities and my open project service opportunities are the two default public views that we have. If we wanted to change so that immediate purchase opportunities was a default view, we select that one. And one of the options here is to set that as a default view. I'm not going to do that in Publish just because of how long it took the last time. But once you set it as default, if you published your customizations, that change would take effect. Another thing that you can do from your views, if you personally want this to be the view that is your default view, if you select the pin here, that will change the view that you are on to your personal default view. Changing it to a default within the customization creates that to be the default across the organization, but you can do that personally here for whichever view you want to see first. So with that, that's views in a nutshell here. I think that gives you some pretty good options for going out there and creating some views of your own. Does anyone have any questions at this time? Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. And if you have any other questions about creating views or CRM in general, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to helping you. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.